Okay, this is video number 3 for my sports nutrition class on carbohydrates. So, fiber does not provide energy, basically, right? It's an unbreakable product that we eat, but we really do need to eat it. Now, I know some of you don't eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. I don't even consider myself a big fruit and vegetable person. I'm a grain person. I do love whole grains, so I do get that kind of fiber. But I don't necessarily get, for myself, fruit fiber, which is kind of a soft fiber, and vegetable fiber, which is kind of an insoluble one. I usually get a grain one. So what does fiber do for you? The two major reasons why you should eat plant foods is number one, the soluble fiber, those the soft ones we find in soft fruits, oatmeal, beans, Metamucil, which is actually a medical product that's over the counter to add fiber to your diet. That lowers your bad cholesterol. Now, it doesn't lower it a ton. Eating Cheerios is not going to, if you have super high cholesterol and you take medication, I'm sorry, Cheerios is not going to be your cure for your genetically high cholesterol, but it will help. That's the soluble stuff, the oatmeal-y, apricot-y, jammy kind of stuff. The insoluble is the celery, the kale, the skins, the seeds. Frankly, those just give your colon something to push on. The large intestine has very weak muscles. They're not striated like a bicep in Arnold Schwarzenegger posing 1981 or Tom Platz, Platz, Google his legs, posing in 1981, just freakishly cut. Beautiful, beautiful legs. I mean, as muscular as you could get him as a bodybuilder. That's not colon. That's not the colon muscle. It's very soft. It needs help. So when you eat the seeds, the celery, the tomato skins, it gives your colon something to push on. It maintains regularity. You poop every day at the same time. It keeps stuff from lingering. If you're eating barbecued food, do you really want it loitering in your colon? No, you want to, nothing to see, nothing to do here, right? So we know that eating a lot of dietary fiber appears to help with heart disease. It's pretty strong. It does help with reducing your risk of colon cancer. It's pretty good. The weight one is kind of tricky because fiber does make you feel full. I just think that if you're eating a lot of fiber-rich grains, you maybe still be eating a lot of carbohydrates. So whether you're going to lower your weight because you eat a lot of fiber, that's a tricky one. There's observational evidence in people that fiber does help with heart disease and cancer. Okay. All right. So how much carbohydrate do you need? It depends. As an athlete or as a non-athlete, you know what works for you. Just looking at your current diet, if you're not gaining weight, you're exercising as well as you possibly can, you're probably doing okay. Now, there's two methods. There's the gram per kilogram method, or there's the percent of calories method. The percent of calories method I'm more familiar with. That's what we use in the nutrition class. The Mediterranean diet, which we consider very healthy, is about 40 to 45% of your calories from carbohydrate. Yeah, it's not that much pasta, and it's not that much Italian, French, and Spanish bread. It's more fat, actually, than carbohydrate. But for endurance athletes, you may get a lot of calories from carbohydrate because you're going for a 2 to 3 hour run or 2 hour run. You're burning a lot of fat, but you're burning that fat with carbohydrate while you're burning carbohydrate. And if you look at the numbers for carbohydrate, let's do it. So 45 to 65%. Let's say you're doing a 3,000 calorie diet. That's not unreasonable for a young, fit, healthy athlete. That could be 1,350 calories a day. That could be 1,950 calories a day, right? I'm using the extremes of the range. That could be 338 grams of carb a day. Folks, that could be more than a pound of carbohydrate a day. Why should you run? Because it's healthy for you? No. If you can run and you're a runner, you should run because bread is awesome. And I sincerely mean that from my soul, if I have one. If you do the gram per kilogram, again, you get up into a lot of carbohydrates. I've got some examples, by the way, at the end of this that you'll see, like, that's not that hard to get to 50 to 65% of your calories from carbs just by adding an extra bagel here or there. There's a lot of carbs out there. Okay, how do you regulate your blood sugar? So when carbohydrates come in from eating a meal, they start to show up, let's say, within 1 to 3 hours, and then this big, rush of carbohydrate comes in from spaghetti or rice or pasta, and the amount of glucose, because ultimately all you really absorb mostly is glucose. If you eat fructose, if you eat glucagon, remember you can absorb those. Your liver converts those to glucose. So blood sugar is glucose. As glucose starts to rise, the body doesn't like it. And what we do is, so let's look at our body. So here's blood sugar coming in. Here's it coming in from the GI tract. It actually triggers the pancreas, which acts as a monitor that gets really worried about high glucose. High glucose means you're not storing it, right? We are a fast and famine species. We are used to going without food for long periods of time. So whenever there's a ton of glucose around, we just want to store it. And the pancreas makes a hormone, if I can say that, a hormone called insulin. Insulin goes to all the body's tissues, especially the liver and especially the muscles, and it says to those organs, please take up glucose. Take it up as single molecules, stick them together, make a big giant chain, and store it as glycogen. Insulin tells your body to suck up, take in glucose from the blood, and store it. And as blood sugar starts to come down, because you're storing it, eventually the pancreas will start making insulin. And now you're kind of in the after a meal phase. Now, if you go 3, 4, 5 hours without eating anything, all the glucose that's kind of hanging around in the blood, well, it's going to start to go away because the brain is always, imagine the brain is always sipping on glucose. Yum, 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 yum. Every millisecond you're eating a glucose into the brain for energy, or every millionth of a second, I should say. So between meals, what's in the blood for glucose will start to go away. The pancreas doesn't like that. It'll now get concerned, get involved, and release a different hormone. Insulin is to store, glucagon is to release. But there's a thing about glucagon. It can go to the muscle tissues. It has no effect. All that glycogen that you made from eating pasta or rice or potato stays in the muscle. Glucagon acts on the liver. That's your wallet between meals. And you open your wallet and you slowly trickle out glucose into the bloodstream to bring it back to normal. So between meals, glucagon tells the liver, release glucose. After a meal, insulin tells the liver and the muscles, take up glucose and store it. Insulin after a meal, glucagon between meals. There's one other hormone I'm going to talk about in the third video.